In this video, we will look at the portfolio update of Terry Smith. It's the middle of August, and right now we can see the 13F filings for the second quarter of 2022. So it is possible to see what super investors bought or sold in the second quarter of 2022. And Terry Smith is a famous super investor that I follow. So first we will look at his overall portfolio. His portfolio is centered around 20 core positions. We will look at what stocks he sold during the quarter and what stocks he bought. And thirdly, we will look at his main addition, Mettler-Toledo International, and one stock that he completely sold. It is Starbucks. So we will briefly look at their fundamentals and see at what price Terry Smith bought or sold these positions. So let's get started. First of all, if you want to get updates about the portfolio of Terry Smith, you can subscribe to the channel by pressing the subscribe button under the video. You will not miss a single new video. Okay, Terry Smith is a famous British investor that I follow. He's the author of the book Investing for Growth, which compiles his annual letter to shareholders for the last 10 years. He also managed to outperform the S&P 500, so it's really interesting to see what stocks he bought and what stocks he sold during the last quarter. And right now, it is possible to see what super investors bought or sold during the second quarter. If a fund has more than 100 million in assets, it's obligated to list what stocks he owns. So it is possible to determine what changes were made to the portfolio. Of course, you can see this info directly using sec.gov, using the Edgar search, or you can use services like Dataroma, which is much more easy to use. Okay, we can see that the portfolio of Terry Smith is centered around 20 core positions. He has other stocks, but these 20 stocks represent more than 50% of his portfolio. So what were the main changes to his portfolio during the last quarter? If we sort his stocks by the change to portfolio, we can see that he sold Starbucks, so this was the biggest change to his portfolio. We also can see that his main addition was Mettler-Toledo International. So right now we will look at these two companies. First we will look at what price Terry Smith bought or sold, approximate price that Terry Smith bought or sold these stocks. Then we will briefly look at their fundamentals, and then we will try to come up with their fair value. We are building a tool to make fundamental analysis much easier, so we will use this tool. Also, if you have some additions, what would you like to see in this tool? Please write in the comments below. Okay, first let's look at Starbucks. We know that Terry Smith sold the stock between April and the end of June, so the highest price was close to $90 per share. I believe that Terry Smith is so good that he was able to sell the stock at the highest possible price, but it's also very likely that he sold much lower. We can see that its market cap is more than 100 billion. We can see that it has net borrowings of close to 21 billion. If we compare that to free cash flow, it is around 5 times free cash flow, so that might be an issue. Analysts are projecting for the growth rate to be around 7.6%. Right now, the current price to earnings is 25. If we make the calculation of fair value, we get the fair value of around $62 per share, which implies that the current upside is negative 30%. So according to this metric, the stock seems to be overvalued. Okay, we briefly looked at Starbucks. We saw that if we use discounted earnings per share method, the stock seems to be overvalued, around 30% overvalued. And the highest price that Terry Smith was able to sell the stock was close to $90 per share. Also, we don't know the exact price. The price might be much lower, but $90 per share is the highest price that it was during the last quarter. Now let's look at his main addition, Mettler-Toledo International. We can see that the lowest price during the second quarter was close to 1100. So Terry Smith was able to purchase the shares at 1100 or higher. We can see that the market cap is close to 30 billion. We also can see that they have net debt of 1.8 billion. If we compare that to their earnings, that not seems to be an issue. If we look at their valuation, analysts are projecting for the growth rate to be close to 18%. So if we do a deeper dive on Mettler-Toledo, we need to double check the growth rate. If we use the current price to earnings, we get the fair value of close to 1800, which implies an upside of close to 35%. So if we use discounted earnings per share method, we get the upside of close to 35%. Okay, we briefly looked at Mettler-Toledo International. If we use the current growth rate and current price to earnings, we get the upside of around 35%. But if we do a deeper dive on this company, we need to double check the growth rate. So we saw the portfolio of Terry Smith, we saw his main addition, and we saw the stock that he sold. Also, it will be very interesting to read his annual letter to shareholders when he describes his purchases. So if you are following Terry Smith, it is possible to make changes to your portfolio. Also, when using the tool, when we saw the price to earnings, what I really like to see is the average price to earnings for the industry. For example, to take all the stocks from the S&P 500, take the stocks only from the healthcare industry, get the average price to earnings, and compare that to the company. We can do that for other valuation metrics, so I believe it will be a nice addition to this tool. Also, if you have other ideas, what can be added to this tool, please write in the comments below. If you want to know more how Terry Smith selects his stocks, here is the video. If you are not subscribed to the channel, you can do this by pressing the subscribe button right here. You will not miss a single new video. Thank you very much for watching to the end, and see you in the next video.